very strange way. We were raising my sister. My parents died early, and she took painting classes in high school. And that was a world I knew nothing about. I was raised in the country, and my parents probably didn't even know who Picasso was. So I decided that I wanted to find out about this world, and I started researching and taking classes. And the first class I took was in Houston, Texas. And it's a wonder I stayed with it, because he was something else, and I don't even remember how I got his name. But he would paint on your painting, and if he came to where you were painting and he picked up a brush with paint on it, he would sling it across the room. And then the painting ended up being his painting and not yours. So you really didn't learn. But when we moved to Colorado, I started research, and I found another teacher. And I've been painting really steadily since the classes in the 70s, went back to DU and got my degree in the 80s. My first studio was in 86. So I guess you would say I've really been painting since 86. And what I'm doing now, I'm approaching this painting differently than I have done in the past, because I can't use painting medium anymore. It bothers my lungs. So I'm doing just wet on wet and no painting medium, and I like what's happening. It's because you can bleed the paint into the white, and I put the color in first, and then I come back in with the white, and then I come back in with another color if I need it. So this kind of reminds me of a pond we had in Texas, and it was a secret pond. Nobody knew where it was unless they got on our place. And I used to go down there and sit and think and listen to the frogs and birds, and get away from family life, because there were 8 kids, and get away from work, because we all had to work. But if I could sneak out and nobody could find me, then I would have an hour or 2 by myself. When we moved to Denver, I got busy and looking for an art teacher. And through referral from a friend, they told me about this wonderful woman called Edith Niblo that taught at Opportunity School. So I sought her out, joined her class, and loved it, and I loved her. And the first day I started painting with her, I had a photograph, and I was painting from the photograph, and she says, "We don't use photographs in this class." So I knew if everybody was crazy about everybody I talked to, that there was something there for me too. So I stayed with her, and I loved her class. Took many, many classes until she retired. And then I went back and finished my degree at DU. But she really was my mentor. For one whole year, we painted 4x4 squares with Cezanne, the paint, and just to figure out what happens when you put a color down and then you put a color next to it. So ever since then, color has been my love, and that's a big part of all paintings, is color. She taught me awareness, aware of my environment, aware of the golden trees in the fall, how the grass laid. We would go out and study trees and study grass. She read poetry to us. There are many things. I still miss her, still think about her. She taught design, she taught color, she taught these, and it's hard to do, she taught the spirit of art, the love of art. And I hope she's up there watching me now. You know, life is a double-edged sword. And using that as a metaphor is the reason I paint. I paint the joy of life rather than the tragedies and sorrows of life and things that are going on in the world today. And I like painting. I like to be here. I always lift up my arms when I walk in the door and thank all the gods in the universe and Allah and Jesus and all of the gods that I do have this opportunity to paint. I paint for the love of it. I paint for color. I like the way the brush hits the canvas. And if I'm working with a palette knife, I love how the palette knife works on the canvas, and I have painted a lot of paintings on board. I like the feel of it, I like the smell of it, I like the taste of it. Sometimes I think I know why Van Gogh ate his paint, because he loved it so much. My last show at Spark, which is a cooperative gallery, it was Make It Square. And these 3 paintings were the beginnings, and then I branched off to something else. But I think the main reason I'm still painting squares is because of Edith. I love the square. It's architectural. You look at buildings, you look at windows. One of my very first show was many years ago, was windows. I had a studio once where I overlooked downtown Denver, and I looked at buildings and the continuation of the squares. that I paint in series and get ready for the next show. I had a show in May, painted square, and I went through a period of time. Now, what do I do next? What do I do next? Where am I going to go? So I thought, well, I'm tired of the palette knife, so I'll go back to the brush. And it changes. The texture changes, the image changes, the color has changed. I don't know how to explain it. There's a lot of my work that I don't know how to explain. Sometimes I don't know where it comes from. I don't know where it's going, but I keep on painting. Sometimes it's a mess, and sometimes I'm happy with it, and I just go home so happy, and then come back the next morning and I think, oh, it's awful. Let's start all over again. But most of my paintings are layer upon layer of paint. With this particular one, I started out with the yellow acrylic background, and then color, just splashing on color. And then now I'm coming back with the white. And my painting has changed again because I can't use the painting medium. And I'm just using the paint without any medium, no quick drying. So it's going to take longer for my paintings to dry. But I like what happens coming back in the next day and the painting is still wet. So you get nice edges, color changes. Your paint goes over the color and it bleeds through. I like that. So it's all about discovery. Every painting is a new problem or a new joy. Sometimes they're joy and sometimes they're painful. Main thing is I love to paint.